evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of You Get What You Get. I'm Rickey Hampton, along with my great friends Tim Turner and Tree McDougal, coming to you on a Tuesday evening. Hope everybody's doing fantastic. Good to see you too, my friends. How's everybody tonight?
I'm hanging. I'm nursing injuries leading up to 10K in a couple of days. So if you see me squirming, I am massaging my hamstrings and icing a toe at the same time.
Tree, you need one of these.
What is that? I need
You know
it.
what this is? This is a heating pad
Ah,
for my bad knees after coming off the golf course today.
oh, how'd you
Yeah,
do?
yeah, I put some heat on that thing. I got it. I'm giving away my secrets here
Mm,
to the world. Uh,
yeah, it's
the,
so
the
good. We all
damage
have
of my
something to.
knees.
We have
Huh?
some injury. We always got something going on. Tim, what you got?
Um, I was mowing before I came out here, so I can get a slow walk in before the race. You see, I'm having my AJC Peachtree Road race shirt.
That's,
I'll be doing that in a couple of days. Tree and Reg, her husband will be in the corral behind me, and they will finish ahead of me. I will guarantee that.
I was gonna wear mine tonight, but I want to be all braggy. But you go ahead.
Yeah, we good to go.
Is this weekend?
It's Thursday.
Thursday, yeah.
Oh, celebrating 4th of July, huh?
Yeah, it's always on the 4th of July.
Yeah,
So it's a fun race.
it is.
The first time you guys have run it?
Oh no.
No, this is probably my 12th or 13th time, I think.
This,
I don't
this
know.
is like my 5th or 6th time, something like that. Yeah.
It's a McDougal tradition in our home that we do it.
My first year running, I was terrified. I'm up there thinking I gotta, beat all these people. And Reg McDougal comes by and says, it's not that serious.
It's not that
There you
serious.
go.
Because
Only if you're at the front with the elite runners and you're trying to make money. Otherwise, it's just a big old party.
see, the elite runners have their names on their bibs. The rest of us have just alphabets and numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like Social Security numbers when you're in college. You're a nobody. Ain't nobody.
And are they
I
running for
am
president?
somebody. What are you talking about? I am somebody.
It's Olympic. I think it's an Olympic event, some sort of trial or some sort of thing that means that. I'm not sure. But that it's what the deal is. You know who wins every year. We're not gonna call no names or no countries, but you know who wins every
The
year.
brothers from the motherland, absolutely.
They're
Run all
so
day.
good. They're so
Run all
good.
day.
The other thing they have at that race, Ricky, is like they have wheelchair racers, and that's pretty awesome as well. So they start out. I think they start out first, super early, and then
Downtown Atlanta.
it starts in Buckhead, and then it goes to
Piedmont
Piedmont Park to Midtown Atlanta. Yeah, so they have bands along the way. It's a really great event.
There are people who give him these. When I found out how serious it was, when there are people running and stopping and grabbing beers as they ran, so you know that it's really those folks are not about trying to beat their time. They're just trying to stay upright for the 6.2 miles.
Hey, what's going on around the around the campuses of Morris Brown and Morehouse and Clark? What is it? AU?
The AU Center.
Are the community? Is it a revitalization or anything going on? A lot of building?
Tim, I'll let you take that one.
Close to the campus it is, but that it's still it hasn't been gentrified per se.
That's what I was asking.
There's some areas that have been. They were talking about doing a mixed use project really close on the colleges, and it fell through. You have the State Farm Arena and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium are not really, like maybe 2 miles away from campus, if that. And those areas have really blown up. I mean, you got new hotels. They've revitalize those areas. And it's pretty much going to start pricing people out because folks are moving back in town. They're tired of commuting. So it's really taking shape there. And in 2026, Atlanta's going to have, I think, 4 or 6 World Cup games at Mercedes-Benz. And one of the semifinal games is in Atlanta in 2026. So, I mean, they're doing all kinds of construction and stuff downtown and at the airport. The MARTA station there has been shut down once for 6 weeks for repairs to expand it for the expected World Cup travel traffic, and they're going to shut it down for 6 weeks later this year as well. And they'll have to have people taking buses from another station to the airport. So everybody's gonna make that money. If you got a house in Atlanta, 2026, you gonna be Airbnb in that bad boy.
I do have an important question. Does MARTA still have the same nickname?
Moving Africans rapidly through Atlanta? Yes. Yes, it does.
That is the greatest nickname for a mass transit system in America, right there.
Yeah, never mind. I won't tell my own MARTA stories. But what about what's happening in the West End? Anything there's in relation
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. But I was the West End Mall is really not that far from campus, from Morehouse or Spelman. Used to walk up there all the time to go get something to eat. I remember about 2 or 3 years ago, I was up there in Atlanta and I wanted to get something to eat. And somebody said, well, there's something up at the West End. And I was like, I'm not walking up there. I mean, you know, 30 years later, it's like, that's too far. Before you would walk, several miles for a donut. But now won't walk a mile to go get a whatever it is up there at the mall. It's changed a lot. It's a lot that's going on. And they're revitalizing some areas. Morehouse School of Medicine has made it really big. Spelman's growing by leaps and bounds. Morehouse is about to reshape its campus where it'll look like nothing like what it's looked like right now before. You won't be able to film movies like Hidden Figures where your campus in 2020 looks like 1950s NASA. The buildings are so old. They were able to do it that way.
That it does. I was surprised when I went to campus. And Ricky, I grew up in Atlanta, but I had never been on Morehouse's campus until I went to a Morehouse game. Well, Savannah State was playing Morehouse. And I thought, this is what it looks like? Because you just I never went,
Historic.
Yeah. Don't go changing just to please me. Or
I didn't want them to change either, but it's like they get ready to they're going to tear out the tennis courts. And there was this one alumni who has a son who's like a nationally ranked tennis player.
Oh, it's changing.
It's changing. And he was like, they said, well, what are you going to do about my son who wanted to come here to play tennis? I said, well, there are plenty of courts nearby. So they just lost a kid, a nationally ranked tennis playing kid, because we're going to get ready to tear out the tennis courts to make room for this redesign. So,
well. And we got to check in with our, speaking of Morehouse, we got to check in with our good buddy Terrence Mathis before season starts. I'm excited to see what they can do. I think he'll have a great impact on the team. It's going to take a minute to reestablish the program, but I like his chances.
I'd love to see what the coaches are saying, because I was listening to a sports talk station here about a week or so ago, and they were talking about one of a former Falcon named Bob Whitfield, like a super offensive lineman.
Yeah, offensive lineman. Yeah.
Well, he's on the Morehouse coaching staff. I did not know that. Wow. But I'm saying, I wonder what those guys are thinking when they get those type of athletes as opposed to maybe a D1 athlete, where guys are coming there actually for their education as opposed to their athletic pursuits, although they'll be on scholarship. I have no doubt that Terrence is going to turn this team around, but I wonder what these guys are who come from these major programs, all pro players, and you're dealing with kids who are pretty much not in the same shape that they would probably like him to be, and that kind of thing. So,
what would you think, Tim?
You would go in. I think Terrence sits him down and says, "Look, this kid is in microbiology. Who's your running back?"
Right? Yeah.
I was like, He didn't come here to play football. That's not his primary objective. Whereas,
Right.
you're talking about people coming in for other things, and football is something they still want to do. It's an aside, and it's not the primary thing. Which is why they, whenever when it became when the transfer portal hit, they lost a lot of kids who only wanted to play football because academically it was far too challenging. So, and I think Terrence understands that. I think he's probably got those coaches on board thinking the same way.
Yeah, and I think he had those. I bet you he had that very conversation you just gave an example of, Tim. Hey guys, we do have some breaking news here. I
Really?
just saw this come in. Utah State has fired plans to fire head coach Blake Anderson. Utah State has informed Coach Blake Anderson that it intends to terminate his employment agreement after an investigation turned up non-compliance with university policies concerning Title IX. Anderson has 14 days to respond to the university's notice.
What does he coach?
Deputy Athletic Director Jerry Bovee and Director of Player Development Austin Albright have already been fired for violations of university policies related to reporting sexual and domestic violence and failure of professional responsibilities.
Yeah.
You kind of sense that when you get these quick firings like that.
Yeah, that. By the way, the defense coordinator Nate Driley will serve as interim coach. That's just coming off the wire
Wow,
3 minutes ago.
that's tough.
So I'm wondering. I mean, some stuff was going on that he was not on top of, obviously. But man, that leaves a question. You're a coach. You coach in football. You got 100 guys on campus. How far does your responsibility for their actions go?
I think it's tough. I really do think that you have to have a whole squad of people around you to do that. I think the colleges have employed people to go up there to make sure people are adhering to curfew, and you have to do a lot more due diligence with guys now. You get character guys. You have to really think about that. Who are you recruiting and what their makeup is. I mean, talent alone is not going to help you win. I think places like there may be some isolated incidences or something sometimes look like a pattern. I take University of Georgia for an example where they've had some issues, but that's not been, for the most part, what they're about. But I mean, kids make dumb mistakes. Kids do stupid stuff. Kids drag race and get in wrecks, and people are injured or killed and that kind of thing. And you can talk to your head explodes just about, but they're going to do something that's going to be that could change people's lives forever. And you have to really make sure you're getting in kids who are about the team and about being there, about playing ball and getting an education.
Okay, Trey. One of his
not
players
maybe just kids, but it could be also staff, right?
Oh yeah, well the staff too, because like this is an instance here with a staff thing. It's not the kids; it's a staff thing. It may be something totally different, but
one of the players recorded Anderson talking disparaging sexual assault victims, saying he's talking to the team, talking about it, and the guy's recording him when Anderson says, it has never been more glamorized to be the victim of sexual assault. So that's
a real sensitive guy right there. Real sensitive.
That's one of the allegations against him.
Never mind. I was like, it's a rhetorical question, but it was like, how is that glamorized?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
And before I guess we get in the show, we probably should touch on a situation in the Detroit area that's been in the headlines today. One of their announcers, a popular player here, Craig Monroe, uh, had a good major league career. Is an excellent analyst for Tigers baseball. Has been away from the team for almost 2 weeks, and a report came out that during his minor league career, he was sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl. I believe it was in Texas. Uh, she alleges that he sexually abused her and gave her to other men. And that's going to be the end of Craig's broadcast career for sure. And we'll see what the investigation holds up on whether he did this or not or whatever. But just a terrible story.
It is.
A guy who was really popular and well liked in the Detroit area. Man,
That's a tough one to understand at all. That just doesn't make any sense for that kind of thing. But you just never know what's going on. But covering sports, almost nothing surprises you anymore.
right.
You know, there are far more great stories than there are bad ones. And so you get excited about those things. But when the bad ones, there's some really tragic ones like that. And just hopefully, want to kind of gravitate toward all the good stuff that's going on in sports and in baseball and other things. I mean, July 1 rolls around. July is the start of training camp for the NFL. End of the month, football's here. And that is just, mind blowing that we just have to hold on a little bit longer and football's here. July 1, Bobby Bonilla gets that fat check from the Mets.
Get that money, baby.
And from the Baltimore
Not
Orioles.
mad at him.
That
Happy
rolls
for
around. July 1, the SEC expands by 2 more teams. Oklahoma and Texas are now officially part of the SEC. And then you have Cal, Stanford, and SMU, I think, are now officially part of the ACC. And that's still Berkeley,
What was
California.
again?
University of California, Cal, Stanford, and
Right.
SMU are now in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the Tupac. The Pac-12 is now the Tupac, where you got Washington State and Oregon State are the only 2 teams in this one conference out there on the West. Everybody else is bolted for these other parts of the country. So
was they crowned a champion?
I don't know how that's going to work, but it's good.
How you figure that? How's that going to work?
Okay, I guess when they play each other at the end of the year,
It's the championship game.
I mean, well, I don't know how you play your schedule, what kind of schedule you play, knowing that it's only 2 teams in your conference. That's a weird thing out there. But as usual, after the conference has been picked over, they usually put a minority or a woman at the head of it. So there's a woman who's the head of the two team conference out west. This is her first year coming in there. So yeah, good luck with that, sister.
Wow.
It just is not.
That sounds disingenuous. So let's give her a better.
I hope they do really well. They
you
won't
go.
have a lot of problems with road trips, as opposed to the UCLA softball team playing at Rutgers, for a series. I really think they need to pair these wild conferences like this and only be about football. It can't be all sports, flying coast to coast in everything. Unless these schools really can afford to do that. I can't see the Cal men's tennis team in Tallahassee.
Unless they get paid to go.
Pardon me?
Is there a chance they will get paid to go?
Gosh, I don't know.
But I think the football programs are bringing in so much money now with these TV deals, they can absorb those
non-revenue.
Yeah. Everybody else.
Yeah, it's that's just hard.
It's just weird, man. Yeah. UCLA coming to Ann Arbor in November or whatever. I mean, I don't know if that's actually on the schedule like that. But,
right. That's weird. So we got football out there. That's starting up because here we are in July, and that's gonna happen. and you got to crank those things up. But even before that, hockey just finished, basketball just finished, but they're still in the news.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
good reason.
Yeah, checks are being written. For good
Everybody getting paid, man. Everybody getting
I'd be
paid.
okay with that.
Yeah,
And let's
You
start
just said
at
it right. It's
Boston.
everybody.
Everybody.
The world champion.
Everybody.
The world champion Tree's team, which is up for sale. Tree, I told you I got about $80 on this.
I told you I got 5 on it.
Okay, I'll watch y'all.
You're not in? You're not going on in?
I'm in on the Celtics. This is the deal. They bought the team, I think, for like $300 and something million. It was, they just won the NBA title, so you think it's going to appreciate. And I heard that the last NBA team that was sold was the Clippers. That's when they made Sterling sell, and they were sold for $4 billion. So you can imagine a team like the Clippers selling for $4 billion. Right. What an NBA champion is going to cost somebody to buy.
And a team like Boston, one of the historic. So you're talking what, $6-7 billion?
At least. So, and if you got that kind of money laying around, that's
and they do, Tim. And I love your notes, man. They signed Tatum, 5-year, $314 million. I don't know, maybe a month or so ago, they signed Jaylen Brown, $304 million. They have and they signed Derek White, 4-year, $126 million. Plus Holiday and Porzingis are already under contract.
So they have the core of their team. They're going to be pretty good for a taste.
Yeah.
As long as they're healthy, yes. As long as they're healthy.
Absolutely. Old man Horford hadn't heard his name mentioned, but that's okay.
But I tell you, we talked about this before. This is the first Celtic team. I mean, I always gave Bird and those great teams their props, but man, I hated them. This is such a likable team that they have in Boston.
What was that? Was it Tree? Did you send that meme from the coach Missoula? They asked him, had he met the royal family?
Where they asked him a question?
Yeah, he said, have you met the royal family? And he was like,
oh,
who are you talking about? And it's like, they were talking about like the Prince of England, Prince and Princess of England. He said, yeah, I only know of one royal family. And he was talking about Jesus. Mm-hmm. So that's the royal family I know. I'm like, okay.
He does not play about his faith, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's
what he said. That's pretty cool.
He said, yeah, I don't know about. He said, I don't follow those other ones. So yeah, that was tight.
Yeah, and he took a lot of heat after they fell short last year, and stayed with it and came back. But man, you love the story of Jaylen Brown. Who I didn't even know was a local guy for you guys down there. I think his teacher told him one time she'd come see him in prison.
Right.
That's such a terrible thing. I mean, I don't understand
right. How do you say that?
There's a guy here in Savannah.
It is Atlanta. It is the South.
There's a guy here in Savannah who's now a judge, and he had a teacher pretty much said the same thing. He wasn't going to be anything. And I'm like, why would you tell a child that? But I think what it does do is motivate them. It could motivate them, or it could put them on a path to like doing, terrible.
Well, I know a person, like a friend of mine, was told that grad school was not for them, and it was a motivating factor for them. And they got their advanced degree. And I'm thinking, anytime somebody tells somebody who is motivated and who has skills, talent, ability, and drive, they're going to do well. And they're going to prove people wrong. And it's not like to prove that person wrong, but just to prove it to themselves. And I think that's what Jaylen Brown did. And that's what my friend did. But I think that's what Jaylen Brown did as well. I mean, he was on the chess club out there at Cal. He's only out there for a year. He did so many things off the court. Yeah. So he was a more well-rounded person than this teacher. And the teacher may be taking credit for everything he's gotten now. It was me.
She should not, or she should not.
But
And you know what else? And you know what else is cool about he and Tatum? You can tell, man, there's no rivalry between them.
No.
They are happy for each other's success. And sometimes you get two young players like that, it could get a little tense. You know, one of us got to go. I got to be the guy. But
and it's more of a manufactured thing of the media, because a lot of times ball players don't even think that stuff until somebody introduces that kind of foolishness into a conversation. You know, but I'm just thinking Jaylen Brown, he spent 1 year in the Bay Area doing this thing. And we got another guy who spent 13 years in the Bay Area. He's moving on after not getting tendered a contract. So it's hard to imagine.
Well, hold it up. Let me stop for you for a sec. So I just want to gloat a little bit, because you guys talked not very well about the Celtics. And now I'm just listening to you, glowing about them. So I just want to point that out. But go on.
No, I said,
go on. I told you.
I think I started my conversation saying how I hate the Celtics, but right. I do like the guys on this team. I just don't like that green uniform they wear.
I don't like the green uniform. I don't like the parquet floor. I don't like the town. I don't like no. No, Boston's a great city. I will give it that. It's a wonderful place. It's their fans are obnoxious. That's more so than anything else.
Maybe they just like winning, as opposed to Hawks. I'm sorry. What? I'm sorry.
The Hawks have an NBA title in St. Louis, but that's another story.
Yeah, I was like,
that's another story. But yeah, so Klay Thompson is a Dallas Maverick now.
I know.
He bet on himself. And just lost doing that, because I think before the season or so ago, the Golden State offered him 2 years and $48 million, and he said no, and then he didn't have a good season, and I think he just signed for 3 years and $50 million in Dallas, which means he's taking less money per year. So that guy's to me, he's still a threat, still a deadly shooter, still awesome. And this is what Dallas needed, because they have a three-headed monster now. Unless if Luka doesn't hog the ball and sees Klay open and see Kyrie open, I think this is really going to be exciting for the folks in Dallas.
Yeah, and they'll give him the ball because he's a proven.
He's won it. He knows what it takes to win.
Yeah, he's a proven scorer.
He got 4 titles. Oh my goodness! The dude
that'll be interesting to watch then next season.
That was a great run they had out there.
It was indeed, but and it surprises me. And it I always thought that of the 3, Draymond would be the first to go.
He ain't going nowhere.
Antics, but no, he's still there.
Still there.
And they're still reshaping their roster, because you see where Chris Paul has signed a 1-year deal with San Antonio. So that's 2 big guys, a lot of salary coming off the books, 2 guys they let go. And I think this will be great for Chris Paul and with the Wembanyama, trying to, help him grow as a player.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. And Chris will be 40. Is he 40 yet?
I don't know, but he got a couple. He got some.
He just can't stay healthy anymore.
No, he can't.
What were you saying, Tim?
He's got some more State Farm commercials in him, so he's good.
But he'll go down there. He's 39.
So much ages.
He just turned 39 in May.
Yeah. And then you got another big name makes a move, and it was real quick. It seemed like that was a predestined thing where Paul George left the Clippers for the Sixers. Another team that's going to be really strong. I think you got Maxey and Embiid and now Paul George, which makes the East a little bit tougher. It's like Philly and Boston and in New York, Milwaukee, the top 4 teams. The Heat, maybe the number 5 team in there. And those are the teams that you look at right now as the summer begins. They're going to start Summer League playing in about a week or so. Those are the guys in the East. Yeah. And with all
the West, hey, on the low key, the Oklahoma City Thunder made a great move picking up Hardenstein from the Knicks, for really a fairly, in today's NBA,
cheap.
a cheap contract, $87 million is a cheap contract. But he's a big physical guy that they don't have. Holmgren's 7'2", but he's not a physical player. So now maybe you can play him and Holmgren at the same time.
Right.
And he brings some physicality to that team. And they got about 50 first-round draft picks. And Oklahoma was the number 1 seed over there last year.
Yeah.
Although nobody was scared to play them in the playoffs, even though they were the number 1 seed. So the NBA is very competitive and must be very, very healthy with this money that's being paid. The Pistons just signed Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris from the Sixers. Yeah.
And 2 years, Tobias, $25 million, averaged 17 points a game tree.
Or $52 million, Rick.
52. I'm sorry, Tobias. My bad.
25. Now that's nothing.
My bad.
Pocket change. Pocket change. Yeah.
Tobias Harris' career earnings are now over, when he finishes his contract, will be over $300 million.
Wow.
Never made an all-star team. Never averaged 20 points a game. I mean, he's right up there with Kirk Cutler. No, Kurt's in a class of his own.
That dude gives us great contracts.
And Kurt's been more productive in the NFL than Tobias in the NBA.
I think that there's a thing. I think when Jimmy Butler, the Sixers had to make a choice between Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler, and they let Jimmy Butler go to Miami. Yeah. So, you look back, that's a head scratcher. Unless he and Embiid didn't get along. I don't know what the deal is on that, but I thought that was really strange that Tobias they thought that highly of him, and now he's gone onto the Pistons, and it's like, what's so attractive about Detroit, Rick? Beyond
52.
I'm about to say beyond the first
$52 million.
Yeah. Beyond direct deposit. Yeah. What else?
Exactly. And he's going to come here, and he's not going to be under any pressure like he was Philly. He'll probably play well here. But they still, they won 14 games last year. Maybe they'll win 20 this year. So he's making money, no pressure. Hey, more power to the brother. And he'll be the number 2 guy here because Kay Cunningham just signed an extension for $226 million. So I think some of these guys, I was talking with our friend Paul Mokeski the other day about this very thing. He said sometimes guys just want to get paid.
I think so.
Everybody's always talking about getting the ring, but sometimes guys want to get paid. So
that is
like to get paid like that.
Yeah, I don't fault anybody for doing that, and I think anybody that begrudges folks getting paid, that's a problem. Because other folks can move around and get money, and nobody says boo. But the minute the player does it, looks out for himself. And I'm thinking, case in point, Texas A&M's baseball coach.
Right.
He was all about the Aggies. Right. Next day, he did a press conference signing, showing up in burnt orange. He's the new baseball coach, University of Texas.
Wasn't that the very next day, too?
I think it was, the very next day. And, he didn't even tell the players. That's what I'm understanding. It's like, next thing they see him doing, he's hooking horns, doing that number. He was doing this the day before for the Aggies. And then the next day he was doing that.
Hey,
so,
you got to look out for your family. So there's that.
Well, he did that.
Oh, but hey, your hated rival. Come on, man. Come on.
You gotta do what you do what you gotta do.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was something that was a shocker because the rumor was out that he was leaving, and then he berated a reporter the day before for daring to even ask the question.
Right.
And he just went all off on the reporter, and he starts the Texas press conference apologizing to that reporter. It's like, we just lost the game.
I think it was the very next day.
It was the very next day. It's like, that was a bad one.
I got a question. I kept hearing all the stuff about Trey Young being traded, and they trade the other guard, Murray.
Oh, who you telling, man? I was like, I was stunned because I said they won most of their games when Trey was hurt. With DeJounte Murray doing his thing out there, and they traded him to the Pelicans, essentially to recoup a bad trade they made for Murray, where they got 2 first-round picks. I think somebody's great-grandchildren, they'll be first-round picks when those draft picks come around. They talk about like one of his, I think, is in 2032. Okay,
Wow.
I think that's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not helping now. But they got Larry Nance Jr. Now, if they had brought back Larry Nance, that'd have been something. He was a great player. But Larry Nance Jr., he's been so-so since he's been in the league. And we'll see. And they brought another player, and I can't think of his name, but a guy who was I think he was New Orleans' first-round pick in 2022, but he's a suspect shooter. So I was hoping, and still, the summer's young. I'm still hoping they get rid of because we lost with you. We can lose without you. That's the mindset I'm having.
Yeah, they won't trade him now, though, Tim.
Well, no, it's rebuilding now. We got the Frenchman in. We got this other guy from Serbia.
Number one pick, Risha.
Yeah, Risha Shea. Yeah, he threw out the first pitch the other day at the Braves. It was a strike. He looked pretty good doing that. Still got to work on that dude though, but we'll be all right. He'll be fine. I think he's gonna be.
Sure? You don't sound very convincing.
I wanted the first pick last year.
I know.
Yeah.
There was nobody in this draft to get anybody excited about. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. That's what I think we mentioned this. If you had the first through 10 pick, you're really getting the same guy.
Yeah, pretty much. It's cookie cutter. It's just whatever you want. That's what it's about.
More breaking news. Donovan Mitchell just
signed with Cleveland.
walking into a 3-year, $150 million max extension with the Cavaliers.
You said 350? Did you say 350?
No, 150. 3 years.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
150.
I'm about to say, Jason said, you guys playing for 12 hours.
No, right.
Speaking of, the Pistons hired Cavs former coach, J.B. Bickerstaff. Well, I think he's actually a good coach. He got a raw deal over there. He got a raw deal, man. He had Mitchell out. He had his center out. I can't think of his name right now. But he has an NBA job. I mean, it's going to be tough trying to do something here in Detroit. Hopefully they'll be patient with him because it's going to take a minute. But he definitely deserved another coaching job.
He did. It's absolutely he did.
So we got a lot. The NBA, man. I'm just stunned at the money. James Harden, 2 years, $70 million.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I said, when was the last time James Harden was like the 9th person you talked about in the NBA? I mean, it talked about everybody else. Oh, by the way, the Beard got paid to stay with the Clippers. They got the money because George is gone. That's what the deal is. So you got
70 million?
70
for 2 years. Caldwell Pope, a good player.
Yeah, Orlando's going to be good next year too. That's another team that's going to be kind of scary. Orlando's on the come up, so they're going to be good.
So how do you think players feel? I was thinking about this today. So they see Tatum's contract, and then, which is now the highest in NBA history at this point.
Mm-hmm.
How do the other players, you think, feel like, hey, how do I get to that? Do they feel some kind of way about it, you think?
The current players today?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, they're probably aspiring. Like,
Well, they're thinking about it. It's just a matter of like, okay, so he's getting this. The timing is right. He needed a new contract coming off an NBA title. Mm-hmm. Somebody coming off of a 30 and 51, 52 season. Who cares? You know, guys on losing teams don't get fat contracts like that. You don't get max contracts unless you're an exceptional ball player. I said George was worthy of that. The kid and Griffin was worthy of that, as was Tatum. They're worthy. Yeah.
But in all sports, they're definitely watching. Jefferson, the wide receiver for the Vikings, he was loving these contracts that were coming out before he got his.
Right.
And he was like,
yesterday, Tyreek Hill came out there and says, "Man, I'm happy for all these brothers getting their money."
Yeah.
But you know, and what the deal was, they were basing their contracts on what Hill got. And he says, "I'm happy they got that money, but I think I belong in there somewhere." And then, you know, right now, CeeDee Lamb, the Dallas's number one receiver, hasn't signed, and he said he's not coming to camp without a contract. So he's looking for that kind of Jefferson money, and all those other receivers. He's looking for that kind of money, and we don't know if Jerry's gonna, buckle and do that or not. They're gonna have to probably try to find somebody else to fill those shoes.
So when you think about the James, LeBron and Bronny, and them coming, you know, right? You're shaking your head.
I was just thinking he signed a multi-year contract today. Bronny did. His dad hasn't signed a contract yet. You would think it's probably user-friendly. He's probably going to take less money so his son can, get some gas money or something. You know, he'll probably take less.
What was Bronny's contract?
It was, I forget, it's a slotted thing. It's a 3-year deal is what it was. And
probably 2 to 3 million second rounder. Relatively speaking, they don't get a lot. I'm trying to look for that now. I can't.
Yeah, same here.
They aren't given the specifics of it.
It's just a multi-year.
I'm telling you guys, I had no problem with it. If he'd have been drafted in the first round, I'm like, whoa. The second round, you're taking a chance anyway.
You are. But you used to have more rounds than this. So this is it's tough. Just you could truncate it to 2 days.
It's almost like if you don't go in the first round, your best bet is not to get drafted. So
True.
you can kind of pick and choose where
you pick the team you want and pick what you want to do with that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't think there's no doubt in my mind nobody else would have drafted him.
Do you think maybe it's like a hands off? We want him. We play him too.
I thought he was a draftable player.
Yeah, that too.
Would have probably signed. He'd have definitely got an opportunity as a free agent. I don't think he would have been drafted.
So LeBron got to pick the coach, and he got to sign the player that he wanted. Right. How do you guys feel about that?
Dude got a lot of power.
If you got that kind of power, you can exercise it. But our thing is this: if you got that kind of power, you guys better win. I think that LeBron, if I understand, he wants to rework a contract to make it more palatable to sign other players. Now, I just found something here on a Fox Sports website. It says that second-round picks don't have a set rookie wage scale. They said, but rookies who sign a fully guaranteed contract is typically around the league minimum. And the league minimum for a rookie coming into this season is $1.1 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a whole lot of money, but it's not
probably
like
not to the James family.
No, it's.
I mean, I take it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
3 years.
But if they were trying to win, they needed to try to say they could have really used Klay Thompson.
I was thinking that, and because one of the broadcasters on there is Michael Thompson, Klay's dad.
Yeah.
Is a Laker broadcaster, and I'm thinking they didn't work really hard to do that.
Oh man, we lost Ricky.
Oh,
hopefully he'll come back.
Yeah, well, they didn't work really hard to try to get him, evidently, and I think also with the Lakers, they're in jeopardy of losing a longtime assistant.
Because,
hey Ricky, welcome back.
I'm back.
The Lakers are in jeopardy of losing a longtime assistant because he was looked over for the last 2 coaching jobs. Darvin Ham was in there for only 1 year and was out. and then they go to JJ Redick, podcast buddy, and he's, and this guy gets looked over again. So it's that kind of thing stings for a long time. Assistant coaches seeing other folks get gigs. I'm thinking they don't think it's fair. And now people have paid their dues. They don't mind them getting jobs. I'm trying to think of Kenny Atkins, he was on the bench for Golden State last year. And I'm trying to think who's the head coach this year.
Kenny Atkinson is now at is he in Cleveland?
Maybe that's what it is.
I'll look that up. Were you talking about Sam Cassell, Tim?
No, it's a guy named Harris, I believe. And Atkinson he's the 24th head coach in Cavaliers history.
Yeah.
He was an assistant coach for the Warriors the last 3 seasons. And see, these guys take care of themselves. Because if you see a story, I think Jeff Van Gundy was on the Celtics bench this year, and which was helpful to him after he was let go by ESPN, which was really a bad move. ESPN has nothing by way of basketball pre-game, post-game, any game coverage.
And the ratings showed that too.
It's straight up garbage. The only thing they had working for them was Mark Jackson, Mike Breen, and Jeff Van Gundy. That trio was the best thing that they had. And they blew it up behind, I guess, financial considerations and all this other stuff that was going on at the network. But that was the best thing going for them. And they, whatever it was Stephen A. and
Hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No.
Finish.
Stephen A.
I was going to pivot to something else. So.
Kendrick Perkins and that whole crew there, they were in whoever the guy was used to be with the Warriors. It just was dry. I mean, they should just have Ernie and Shaq and Kenny and Charles do everything. NBA all the time.
Yeah, they should. Because when they ended, it was so dry. It's terrible.
What
hey, did you guys watch any of the Olympic trials?
I watched some, but I think you probably watch more than anybody. You're a track and field guru there.
I'm not saying I'm a guru, but there were some significant things that happened. Like Sydney McLaughlin-Lebron, she beat a world record. Mm-hmm. You guys didn't watch that at all?
I watched the highlights.
I'm not going to even talk about it if you didn't watch it.
No, I watched the highlights of it, and I watched some of the highlights of the gymnastics team, and I'm thinking, even we had 3 people who were like stars that got hurt. They still are going to be strong this year.
And the 16-year-old guy who'll be the youngest Olympian. I think he's on like a relay team.
He's on the 4x100 team, the 16-year-old kid. That is impressive. Outstanding.
I mean, Simone Biles is always going to be great, but
her husband there plays for the Bears, and the Bears are going to give him time off to be in Paris to watch his wife in the Olympics, which I think is a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if you watched anything. I mean, I love track and field. I didn't participate in sports, but I don't know. I love how they push themselves, how their bodies move when you see it in slow motion. One of the things I don't understand is the steeplechase, though, where women are running and then they go over hurdles and then they go over water and then I don't. Anybody know? You guys know the history of that at all? I'm just
I have no idea.
I have no idea.
I've never watched
do you know breakdancing is going to be a sport this year?
Yes, I'm all for that.
Really?
Tim, did you break dance? Did you guys break dance at some point?
I did not break dance.
I know some big boys that would go over there and smoke them, man.
What?
I know some B-boys that'll go over there and smoke them.
Yeah, I'm not carting around any cardboard boxes across the country.
I think they probably have cardboard boxes or whatever it is you need.
I'm talking about you. You got to get used to your cardboard box. It's just
I see.
Breaking in your glove. Right. Your glove.
Got to bring your own. Yeah,
it's a one-time thing. So if it doesn't go over well,
only one
there's
time.
no guarantee that it'll be back. But man, they would have to bring it back because it's in LA when they come back.
Oh, that's true.
LA was one of the big spots for
breakdancing.
for breakdancing back in the day. But
Yeah,
yeah, Pat, I mean, the Olympics, it'll be fun. A lot of people are concerned about USA's chances in basketball.
I
Uh,
would be.
yeah,
We're not the world beaters we think we are in every sport. I was looking at something last week where they had the World Football Championship. In the championship game, Japan beat United States in football.
you sent me that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so I'm like, that's
how
us.
could that
That's
happen?
our thing, man.
How could that happen?
Yeah,
And I think a couple of years ago, we had a 3-on-3 team that didn't even 3-on-3 basketball team didn't even qualify.
right,
I
which is
mean,
painful.
that is the essence of basketball in America, 3-on-3.
And when we lose something like that to one of our native sports and stuff like that, it kind of shakes you up a little bit. I see people wringing their hands and going crazy about the U.S. men's soccer team. And I say this a million times over.
Right.
And the soccer people can get mad if you want to, but the best athletes in America are not playing soccer.
Right.
If the best athletes in America were playing soccer, nobody would ever beat us.
Right.
Ever. You got the best players in Portugal, the best players in Brazil, France, England. They're playing soccer. They're not playing basketball. France, maybe basketball, maybe basketball. But you put LeBron James out there, you put any NFL player out there, any baseball players out there, guys who are really, really great athletes who don't fall down when somebody comes past them and act like they just lost a limb. You put those cats out there against, these other dudes, we'd win every game all the time.
Are you two big
I'm sorry,
soccer
what?
fans?
You're saying that repeat your statement again?
Those other countries, their top athletes are playing soccer. Their
Yeah.
very best athletes.
Yeah.
Our very best athletes are getting paid in football, baseball, and basketball.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Are-
Pull those cats off of there. I would bet Kyrie Irving would be an outstanding soccer player.
I don't know. If that is sport, though.
I would like to see Barry Sanders.
Oh my God. The moves he would put on people out there, he'd break so many ankles. These kids would fall down just looking at him in warm-ups.
Hey, are you two
I don't
big
follow
soccer
that
fans?
logic, but okay.
No. The best. I mean, we have great athletes,
We do.
and they're at the top of the game of their
Of
sport.
their games. Yes.
It translates.
Does it?
I think anybody in any of those sports could play soccer and play it well.
Yeah. Well,
These guys, they're just it's just not the best. So they get up there and blame the coaches for when the teams fail. I always look at them, I'm like, we're always at a disadvantage, which is like why in 88, after we got beat by the pros, we went to 92, went to the dream team in basketball. We got tired of getting beat, our kids getting beat by grown men.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So we said we're gonna bring our best people over there. NBA players. We're not gonna have these college kids playing against, you guys have been playing ball together since you were 7, and here you are 33. No, that's not happening anymore.
Hey, before we get out of here, guys, the WNBA has been really the talk of the sports world this spring for sure. After the great NCAA tournament, I think most people agree the women's tournament was far better than the men's tournament. And now you got the WNBA season in full swing, and they have become a cultural phenomenon in many ways too. And this is just some of the stuff that's going on with the fashion now.
Competition. You better check the ground.
Of the NBA, of the WNBA players. This is just a little snippet of some of the ladies heading to work.
I like it. You know why? Because you would see the guys in the tunnel coming through with their different outfits. And so now women are expressing themselves and they're getting some attention. I think Tim had a problem with Caitlin Clark being dressed by Prada
Oh no, it was no problem with her being dressed, but it seemed like she's the only one that's getting paid. For her frocks, whereas these other people have not, I guess, caught that same financial train that she's on. I'm not mad at her.
Was she being paid to wear it, are you saying, or do you think she was gifted
She
it?
signed a contract with Prada.
Okay, well, good for her.
So I'm just saying, do you see anybody else that has any kind of affiliation like that? And I'm not mad at Caitlyn. I want her to get everything she's got because she's taking so much crap this year. Yeah. I want her to get everything that's coming to her, And so I'm just saying, but you look at other players, and it's not like she's out there playing by herself or playing against herself. That there would be no league with one player. Although she's making a big difference. When she sold out the arena here in Atlanta for a game, when they moved it from I think a 7,000 seat arena to a 19,000 seat, and it was packed. So I am not mad at old girl for doing what she's doing. More power to her. Absolutely.
Yeah, more power to the league. It's going to be interesting to see. I don't know when their next contract comes up.
Yeah.
But that is what's going to be interesting to see all this translate into more money for these ladies. Because I think Caitlyn, the number one pick, now she's making a ton of money off the floor. But I think her contract is 76 million.
Yeah, and I hope they do get, some other opportunities, because that way they don't have to go overseas to play, right? I mean, like you said, their contracts.
That's really about that, yeah.
Yeah, so if they can get some deals and whatever it is, clothing, makeup, hair, whatever, all for that. Shoe deals, whatever.
State Farm is showing them a lot of love for some of this.
What, Tim?
When you mentioned the women's basketball, you mentioned Brittany Griner. There was an SNL joke last week about.
I didn't mention Brittany, but go on.
No, I think
I did.
Yeah, I heard Brittany's name come up there. SNL was talking about how now they're flying private planes, and before there's only one person who flew a private plane, and they showed a picture of Brittany Griner, and they were flying back from Russia on a private jet. So they were taking liberties with that private plane thing about what the impact was.
I'm out on that one. So.
But
I'm glad she came home. They got to make jokes about it.
And I'm sure I asked you guys that this wouldn't happen, but did you see the interview she did on? I think Robin it may have been on MSNBC. Brittany Griner.
Well, she did one with Robin Roberts, I thought.
I was so impressed with her.
Yeah,
I just for her to go through that. And
I did see that.
She kind of said, you know what, I just got to suck this up. I'm going to have to do these 10 years or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. Man, she showed so much courage and grace. That was fantastic. And it's great to see women's basketball getting this love. My daughter was a college basketball player and, of course, high school. I loved watching her play. And when she was in high school, their team went to the state tournament, to the finals, all 4 years. Shellis's team played in the Michigan girls finals championship game. They had huge crowds big crowds, high school wise, but they always played before the boys. Mm-hmm. And the boys team was like, So when the game was over, everybody was leaving. Why don't you let them play last? Why don't you let them play last? Well, we can't do that. The boys have to play last. Okay. Well,
that's a girl dad talking right there.
Yeah.
Seriously,
I'm definitely a girl dad. I'm definitely a girl dad. Hey, but we got to get out of here, man. What a great conversation tonight. And we were able to hit on a lot of topics. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
No, I just hope you guys have a safe and happy July 4th. And Tim, I'll be hoping to blow past you or limp past you.
I want a full report next Tuesday on this race.
That depends.
I'm somewhat injured, so I'm just going to do what I can and have fun.
Yeah. That's what we go. It's all about having fun and staying upright. There we go.
Yes.
There you
There
go.
you go.
All right. Well, for Tree McDougal and Tim Turner, I'm Rick Hampton. Good night, everybody.
All right. Be kind, everybody.